check out IPVanish in the description below. This is a VPN which you know is obviously going to help all of you guys who are still struggling with that crappy 3 p.m. blackout that we still have as a rule in England in big 2025. But you guys already know VPNs help you get access to other countries and their networks which are allowed to show the 3 p.m.s. So if you guys head down in the description or just scan the barcode, which is on the screen here somewhere. If you guys want to scan that, you get up to 83% off with IPVanish.
Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well, or as well as you can be doing after what we saw against Sunderland. If you are watching, this is going out on a Monday, and we're recording this on a Sunday evening. So, Lewis, we haven't had a chat about Chelsea for a little while. It's not been that long, but it's not been. It's been at least a week or two. What's your overriding feeling at the moment after that loss? Obviously, we've got the Wolves game coming up, but I think we'll leave that until a bit later. Let's stick to Sunderland, and we'll break down as much as we can.
Yeah, that game was dejecting. Because I look at this entire run that we have through the October to November international break, and every game is winnable. Sunderland especially. Now, they've done very well this season. I know people laugh at the name of Sunderland and everything because they're newly promoted, but you got to give credit where it's due. They're very well drilled defensively. They've got one of the least goals conceded in the league. I think they've conceded half the goals that Liverpool have done this season. So this was always going to be a test, but this should have been a test that we passed. But it felt like that soft underbelly that I thought Chelsea had got rid of just reared its head again. So many bad individual performances. And it felt like we were just clueless after they equalised. Now, it doesn't really worry me for the games ahead, because we'll talk about it later, I'm sure. But all the games that we have coming up are still winnable. But this game should have been winnable too. We had a chance to jump over Liverpool to still just be 5 points off top. Now it's 8 points because we shot ourselves in the foot in a winnable game. But it also still just goes back to the window. It goes back to the areas that we neglected. The defense, we said that we had internal solutions. Our internal solutions are Tosin and Chalobah, who are garbage together and are just mistakes waiting to happen. And now, the most damning indictment of that window is that we are relying heavily on Esteval and Achimpong. To rely on a 19-year-old and an 18-year-old, one that's only just got to England 2 months ago. It says a lot. Says a lot. Now, the key players also didn't turn up. Caicedo, that's his worst performance of the season. Enzo was garbage. João Pedro dropped his worst performance of the season. And, we expect a lot better from them. But you can have performances like this when you've played the amount of minutes that we've played this year. And this is just a result of that. You needed to use the window better and you didn't use it. We have a whole squad that has played so many minutes this year. It was imperative to use the window to its advantage, especially looking at how open the Premier League's been this season. I maintain nobody at the top, or from the top 4, top 6, has impressed from a performance-based outlook. Teams like Arsenal are getting results in spite of that. We could have been doing the same thing, but we didn't use the windows well enough.
I just looking at the games that Sunderland, have won, because you look at you look at where they are on the table, that they're doing exceptionally. If you look at it from that perspective, but if you look at the games they've won. They beat West Ham. They beat Brentford. They beat Nottingham Forest, and they beat Wolves. And then the other team they've beaten is obviously us.
Yeah.
So when you look at it like that, I mean, actually, before I saw those games, I would have given more credit to Sunderland in the sense that. By the way, Liz, I thought Sunderland looked pretty good, mate. I thought they passed the ball well. They had a great defensive structure. I thought their midfield was sensational. Xhaka looks like a great piece of business. A player that's not just come in just to get a paycheck, but he's actually leading on the front. And they're coming to get points a number of games. I can see Sunderland, doing pretty well this season, but looking at Chelsea's performance as well, I've had a lot of really interesting conversations because I seem to be one of I'd say the few people based on the online community, let's just call it that, that don't seem to be as alarmed by this result as other people. And like, I'll give you a little bit of context. I was in Matthew Harding, and when Sunderland scored that long throw, in the lead up to that long throw, I mean, that was actually the biggest issue for me, was the fact that they won about 7 or 8 50-50s beforehand to get the throw. And then we concede and you go, fucking hell, and then you concede the second goal. Defensively from our side, poor. But I look at Sunderland and I go, fair play, fair play. But in terms of as a unit, as a collective, I don't think I could sit here and say that Chelsea were a disgrace. I don't think I could sit here and say that, we're a pathetic side, which is what I've heard from, a number of people.
I wouldn't say we're a pathetic side, more pathetic performance.
Okay. So when you say pathetic, like what are you putting that down to? Because me personally, I think that a draw would have been a fair result. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, because I just thought we were going to jam a second goal. The whole way through, I just thought we're going to get something jammy and just like leave with the victory. I'm not going to say that we played amazing, but we did what we needed to do, which has just been the story of this season,
right?
In general, not just for us, but for a lot of other teams. But it shouldn't be getting down to that. And I think just a lot of key players didn't turn up for us in this game. Caicedo, Enzo, not good enough. Neto, not good enough. Garnacho, not good enough. I don't care if he scored. He was garbage all game, regardless of the goal.
See, that's another one I disagree with. I don't think Garnacho was garbage, mate.
Really?
Garbage? I mean, garbage?
Yeah. Most of his actions were poor. He just finally beat a man and scored. I'm like, yeah, great.
That's the idea. That's what you're supposed to do.
We're talking about the performance overall, not the one moment.
Okay,
one good moment.
Do you not think that the intention was good throughout the whole game? Well, not the whole game. I agree with you. Let's just look at the first half then, because second half, I actually agree he should have got taken off.
Intention and application are different things, though. I don't think the application was good enough still.
But I didn't have a problem with Garnacho starting the game number one because I thought he's got a point to prove it. Then he gets his goal. I say, brilliant.
I expect him to start anyway because like all the other wingers played on Wednesday, isn't it?
I mean, there was an argument to start Esteval, and then you could have had Neto on the left as an example.
He played the whole 90, though. We're never going to play him 2 games in a week. Not now.
I don't know. I mean, if you're going on the basis of players had a good performance, he should start the next game. That's what I'm relaying. But I agree with you on that. Like I wasn't surprised that Esteval got dropped, but I was happy to see Garnacho in there. I thought his intention was pretty decent throughout the first half. It was when Sunderland really started to sit back that I thought he wasn't effective. But whenever there was space to run into, space to go, I felt like Garnacho was trying to exploit that space. Even forget the goal. There's a lot of moments where I thought, oh, he's whipping in a good ball here. He's causing a problem. I'm not saying that he created a clear-cut chance. I'm not saying that he created something out of, put himself in a position where, he dribbled past 1 or 2 players and had a crack. I know Garnacho is not that type of player, but I just think that it was incredibly harsh what a lot of people were saying after the game. I mean, I spoke to Steve, who you've obviously met, Steve from Andover, and he said he hates Garnacho, and there's a lot of games you could say that. You could have said that about the Forest game. That would have been a great example. Like, I agree. I thought he was poor. I thought he was weak. I don't think he had anything in that game, but I wouldn't have said the same things against Sunderland. And that's why I was honestly surprised.
Well, it's not the Forest performance. I don't say I hate him, but this is the thing.
No, but it's not about hatred, Lewis. It's even the performance in itself. Like, Nina said the same thing. Charlie said the same thing. Now you're saying it. So I'm thinking maybe I'm missing something here because I thought that Garnacho was all right. I don't think he was terrible, mate.
I think because it was better than Forest, it just looks better. But in reality, it just feels like a low bar with him. I'll be real loud. You just end up happy that 1 or 2 actions actually worked out with him. But the overall package always leaves a lot more to be desired. Like he had about 1 or 2 good moments because there was another shot that I think he had from a corner or something. That was a decent attempt.
Yeah.
And then the rest, nothing. Nothing. So I, again, weren't impressed by his performance. You just say it's better than the Forest game because the Forest game, he did nothing. He did absolutely nothing. But just because it's a bit higher than that disaster class, don't mean you played well. It don't.
Okay,
You just scored.
let me rephrase. I don't think he was great, but I don't think he was half as bad as anyone else says he was. I think he was all right.
I think you could only make that argument if you're trying to compare it to other players on the pitch. Because there was so many
Well, I
bad
think he was better than
performances
Neto.
to isolate Garnacho.
I think he was better than Neto.
Mid-off. Genuinely
Yeah, he
mid-off.
was though. He was. I mean,
They
he
both
scored the
combined
goal.
for 1 goal and did nothing else.
He had a chance on goal. He forced a save off the keeper. Like, people don't like to talk about things that aren't black and white. Oh, he didn't score. Oh, we didn't win. But it's like there are other factors to this. Again, I'm not sitting here saying he had a great game, but I just can't accept the fact that people think he was poor. That's what I'm struggling to understand. It's like, how can you say that he was rubbish? Like, I would agree with you on so many levels in other games, but I don't think this was the one. But having said that, again, when they sat back, then I think he wasn't effective whatsoever. Right decision to take him off. I also think, one thing that pissed me off, Lewis, I wasn't that vocal at the time because I thought I was just focused on other things. But you would have noticed when he got subbed off, he just walked slowly, mate. He just walked. It's like, hang on a sec, we're not winning the game, mate. What are you doing? The last player I can remember doing that, like in terms of a big one, is actually Xhaka at Arsenal. Do you remember when he got booed at the Emirates? I think they were losing a game or something like that. And I just think, show a bit of character, show a bit of humility. Maybe that's the best word I can use. It's not all about you, mate. It is about the team as a whole.
Yeah, he was pissed because he must have thought he could still do more. But your literal last action was a long shot that might have hit my season ticket seat. So.
I remember that one. I forgot about that. I'll give you that. Yeah, second half, I agree. I think he was poor in the second half. But if we're going on the first half, I think that it was, it was a respectable performance, especially with the goal. Like, you've got to take that into consideration.
If you minimize it to 45 minutes, you take away a lot more of the frustrating actions in the second half. So I hear why you say it. But overall, still didn't impress me. Neither did Neto. Neto was just locked up so easily. And this guy he'll have 1 good moment and another 5 bad ones. He is an on his moments guy. And you just don't know what you're going to get from his next action. João Pedro, I don't know what happened with him yesterday. All of his decisions just weren't good enough. Like, he was passing when he should shoot. When he should pass, he was over-dribbling things. He had a great opportunity at the end of the game from an Esteban chance, and he was too late to it. And it wasn't the first time he was too late to a cross as well. Just seemed completely out of sync there. And because of all of that, we could barely get Mark Hugh into the game. They just weren't good all round. And then the subs, I didn't get the subs. I don't know why Achimpong had to come off.
I'll tell you
why
that
we're allowing Chalobah and Tosin to still play together. I don't get it. I don't ever want to see that pairing again. They're just so mistake prone. And neither one of them takes any incentive. Neither one of them carries the other. It's just a mistake waiting to happen with both of them.
Yeah, the reason, if I'm gonna say anything, and by the way, I'm not defending the decision, but the reason I think he put Tosin on was because he wanted a player to, pick those passes, which is what Tosin is apparently renowned for doing, and you don't get that with Achimpong. He's more of a ball carrier. So
then take Trevor.
I mean, there's an argument for that as well. Definitely.
My thing is, do not leave me with Tosin and Chalobah. We've seen enough times this season that pairing does not work together. Just don't. If you're gonna bring off Achimpong, then what was it? No, if you don't need to take him off, take Chalobah off. Then do Tosin and Achimpong, whatever. Or even like Hato or something. Just don't give me that pairing when we've seen enough times it don't work. Chalobah played on the right this time. All the other times he played on the left, and that's what I allowed him for his bad performances, because he just don't seem comfortable on the left, and that was obvious from game week 1. We played him on the right. Still nothing. Sorry, I can't trust you anymore. I can't.
When you say nothing, though, are you talking about when tossing came on? Because I thought when Achimpong was next to him, I thought he was okay. I thought he had some pretty good defensive moments at times. Like I wouldn't
He
sit
was
here and
okay,
say,
but I also thought like the first goal he played his part into. Achimpong jumps for the first header. Chalobah doesn't.
right. So you're looking at the
the ball
first
goes
goal.
out.
We should have challenged more for that. 50-50s was pathetic. I mean, that was one of the worst performances in terms
And
of winning duels.
Garnacho and Neto on the edge of the box too. The pair of them were pathetic.
Yeah. What do you make of our our fullbacks with Cucurella and James? Because nobody's really talking about them. Nobody's speaking about them. Like every conversation I've had, their names never come up. But when I was watching Match of the Day the other day, I'm trying to think who was the Middlesbrough manager before Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick was talking about Cucurella, and there was constantly space in behind. He was given a lot of freedom to go up, and he was caught out a number of times, and Sunderland should have capitalised. I don't think it was Cucurella's best game, if I'm honest.
Cucurella always leaves space in behind, though. That's just part and parcel of the system.
Well,
we make up for that in the transition because other players come back, or we stretch out the back three and give the time for Cucurella to get back. But I actually thought Cucurella was one of our better players. Like
no,
he got
thinking
a
about
lot of good positions.
Yeah, from a positional sense, so that's where we were caught off. Maybe that goes on Maresca then, if we're going to look at it like that.
As in, that's been something that's been apparent throughout Maresca's time because of how much work Cucurella does. There's always going to be space left behind him, but it doesn't really impact us that much because we make up that space if we end up having to defend after the fact. So right. I think it's a point that didn't really lead to anything because that's been the case for ages. But I thought Cucurella was one of our better players. James, some of the pass selections I didn't like from him, and he just again didn't seem very comfortable playing in the center of the park. So I wouldn't really say he was great. I only thought Achimpong, Cucurella, and Sanchez could really leave that game with their heads up. I thought everybody else was meaty to just crap.
The thing that shocked me most was the midfield. That was the thing that really shocked me, because when we're thinking about duels and 50-50s, it's not actually a conversation that comes up much because we always win the midfield battle because Caicedo's on form. Like this season, we haven't really had a game where I've gone, Caicedo's let us down. I remember when he first come in, obviously struggled a little bit, but I mean, if we're actually going into detail, it didn't take that long for Caicedo to get to a decent level. He's just gradually got better and better and better, but he was totally ineffective. And I don't understand why. I don't get it. And one other thing as well, Lewis, Enzo was covering so much ground, but it was like, for what? And I'm not going to try and bring Gallagher into this. But you know what we used to say about Gallagher? He's all over the park, but what's he actually doing? Where's he effective? He's just covering ground. Yeah. That's how I felt about Enzo Fernandez at times yesterday, because I thought, fair play to the man. Like, you're making all these runs, you're tracking back, you're trying to press, and you're just all over the place. Like, it doesn't seem like you've got any support. And whatever Sunderland were doing in terms of the way they were setting up, their midfield, they had complete and utter control. So when we talk about duels and commitment, like, even if Enzo wasn't winning his duels, I don't know off the top of my head the stats. I saw the effort from him. I did see the effort from Enzo Fernandez. I actually think that it was Caicedo in a lot of ways that was really underwhelming in that sense, especially if you look at the second goal. Enzo was off the pitch by this point. You had Andre Santos and Caicedo. Yeah, they just jogged back, Lewis. They weren't even sprinting. And again, like, I know it's late in the game, you're tired. I understand it, but you've had a long ball there. You can clearly see that whoever the striker was, he was waiting for someone to come forward and get on the end of it. You got Chalobah there. We both agree did very poorly. He could have done so much more. He wasn't proactive in, just trying to. It's not even about helping tossing. It's about intercepting the ball when it's released. And I just think that even if it wasn't Caicedo, Andre Santos as well, somebody's got to go with someone. You've got to track someone.
No, but James did. This is my thing. I hear what you're saying, but number one, the time of the game does play a part. And number two, we're also still chasing a goal. You don't want to send everybody back for what's a 2v1 turning into a 3v3. Like, realistically, the players that were already there should have handled it. And then you bomb the ball back forward and you try and go and get that last minute goal. Like, it was Tosin, Chalobah, and Brobby. They should be handling that. Then 2 Sunderland players are coming up. James is tracking one of them. Chalobah is not even scanning around him. He's just staring at Brobby. He don't look to see what danger's behind him. It's a 3v3. They gotta just do better.
No, you're right. You're right.
And if anything, it's still majority Chalobah. Tosin could do more, could make it more difficult for Brobby, but you're doing the fundamentals. You're blocking the path to goal. You've got close to him. Chalobah, something. Do something. No, he's just standing there. It's him. It's all him.
No, I think you are right in that sense. I suppose that's me thinking, right, he's not doing his job. Somebody needs to cover him up, back him up. And then we don't necessarily talk about Chalobah if someone else makes an interception. We don't look at that, but we notice it more now because it's cost us. It's a real shame though, Lewis, because I remember when Chalobah first broke into the squad under Tuchel, and I thought he was fantastic, mate. But he was playing alongside, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, all of these guys. And when you talk about the partnership of Tosin and Chalobah, I'm not particularly inspired, to be quite frank. I'm not particularly inspired when I see Chalobah and Achimpong, to be honest with you. But at least Achimpong, I probably still wouldn't go for that partnership in all honesty. Like I know what I'm going to get from Chalobah, and I'm going to see a top defender when he plays with other top defenders or when he has something around him, whatever it is that he needs. I'm just going to use the word quality to keep it simple. And that's where I see Chalobah. With Tosin, I see him again as a squad player, but in a different way. I don't see Tosin as a player I play in the big games. I see him as a player that I've got a Carabao Cup fixture. We needed a bit of rotation. It's the last 10 minutes in a match. We just want to close it out. I'm going to bring on a centre-back for a striker, whatever it is. That's how I see Tosin. So I see them in a different way. And I don't think that people should look at Chalobah and Tosin in the same way either. But unfortunately,
that's not the way the board looks at them.
Well, it's all about profit with them.
The most important centre-back. Yeah. And they've just said, make do with the internal solutions that you have. Badiashile, who's competent, but injury prone. Fofana, our best centre-back when fit as well, injury prone. So the ones that you have to rely on throughout the season is Tosin, Chalobah, and Achimpong. And Hato. That's pathetic. That's absolutely pathetic. And we all know that's not good enough. Chalobah needs to play with someone better next to him to be effective. Tosin needs to play with someone better than him to be effective. Them two together is just mistakes waiting to happen, and we were told that this would be enough for us this season. Pathetic.
What's your take on the way Tosin defended? Because there's been a lot of criticism, with his 1v1 defending, which, it pains me to say it because I'm actually a big Tosin fan, but every time a team is on the counter, I mean, we saw it against Fulham. I think they had a disallowed goal. It's like, I just have no faith that he's going to block a shot or get an interception. He just doesn't seem like he's ever in control of those situations.
Yeah, I think he just did the basics. That was it.
But do you not think he could have done a bit more? Because I spoke to Charlie, and Charlie said that you've got to get tighter.
Get tighter to him. Make it difficult for him or force a decision. He just, keeps to a relative distance and blocks his path to goal. That's all he does. Now, it's just more than what Chalobah did. It's still not good enough. But, he's going under the radar, which I hear, because of how stupid Chalobah looked. Just a whole 7 seconds of you just doing nothing. You're not marking anyone. You're not blocking the area for him to pass. You're just standing there, lost in a 2v1. That's why people aren't talking about Tosin as much, because as much as, he weren't great, Chalobah was just laughable. That's some of the worst defending I've ever seen. It's comical shit. So yeah, I hear the stuff about tossing too. I hear it.
What about what about just going back to sort of the midfield? Like, you haven't really spoken about Enzo and the middle of the park. Like, what was your take on that? Because I don't understand how we conceded so many, like how we made so many mistakes in that area. I thought we were really quiet.
Sloppiness in the middle of the park from James, Caicedo, and Enzo. Enzo's passing was like hospital-esque at times, either too short or too fizzed. Like, it was all over the place today. And Caicedo, just sloppy. It's a level of sloppiness I've never seen from him. Or, well, I'd say maybe when he first joined, because he had no preseason. We just forced him into the squad. But that was a Caicedo that I haven't seen in a while. Well, with Caicedo, you obviously like just look at it as an off day, just based off the consistency that he's shown you. But it's still bad. That is his worst performance all year, I'd say. All year.
I'd have to agree with that. The problem is, mate, especially with a lot of these players that we see perform so often, is we always say when we're not talking about them in a way, it's a compliment because they're doing their job. But it was like they weren't there, in the sense that we just got ran through in the middle of the park.
Yeah, because like we kept conceding the ball stupidly. So we just keep putting pressure back on ourselves. And we made it very easy for Sunderland to defend us because of that. Not to add like the sloppiness of the passing, in terms of we are happy to just keep recycling it. And we're recycling it slowly. Meaning that we weren't like finding gaps in the Sunderland back line as easily as we should have.
I'm with all Chelsea fans who think that Josh Achimpong should be starting. He just seems to be. He's got a definite confidence to him at the moment. I remember in the Brighton game, I think there was 1 or 2 chances where he conceded the ball, but it doesn't stop him. He keeps doing the same things, and more than not, it's working. I think also his ability to recover. I think he made a really good challenge in the game as well, with Xhaka, if I'm not wrong, on a counter attack. He's proven that actually he's got a really good ability there that we can count on, more so than the other 2 centre backs we've spoken about. What is it about Josh Achimpong that you think is earning him the right to start in these games? Or do you just put it down to the fact that our other centre-backs are not good enough? Like, do we give him enough credit to go, oh, you've forced your way into the lineup? Or is it a case of we've got nobody else?
This is breakout season. This is fully his breakout season. So, like, you just got to keep doing what you're doing right now, because, like, no one else is looking as consistent as he is in the back right now.
What about João Pedro, mate? I thought he had a poor game as well. Guiu and João Pedro, I was expecting to see some lovely link up. I saw zero. I saw absolutely none. There was no service though. So like, people want to criticize Guiu. I can't criticize Guiu after the run up to him getting the opportunity to start this game. What was it? Liverpool, great impact. Forest, fantastic impact. And then what was the last game we just played? Who did we just play? Ajax, fantastic. So how can I sit here and say that Mark Guiu isn't good enough when he has shown me with limited minutes that he's clearly able to perform at a level which enhances everybody else in the team and also enhances the crowd as well? Like, a lot of people, especially, I know you obviously go to a lot of games, but a lot of people that aren't going to matches don't realize the energy in the stadium at times because you've got the commentary, you can't really hear it. There is an energy about Mark Guiu that goes throughout the stands when he's pressing, when he's running. And he also encourages his other teammates to do the same. But he had no service. For me, this is a player I want to see him start again. I want to see him start against Wolves. I want to see him start against Tottenham. That's my stance on it, unless you've got a fully fit Delap. Although I think even if Delap is available, he probably comes off the bench, which I wouldn't have an issue with either, or you play 60 minutes, whatever. I want to see Mark Guiu get a run out, mate. I want to see him get an opportunity, because that feels like you've got a player there ready to take his chance. He wasn't given any chances to take. So how do you review something like that?
Honestly, like this game wasn't the right game to judge him anyway because we were
Agreed.
barely getting the ball to him. Like he did look lost at times, but we didn't make nothing for him either. So I can't really come up with any serious assessment of him based off this game. Just I didn't see anything from him.
I mean, one of the criticisms that I saw a lot in the chat earlier when I was live was that we were putting too many crosses in. I mean, do you agree with that?
Mike, sorry.
Yeah,
Who was that? Whole thing just glitched out.
No, I was just saying. So when I was going through some comments earlier, I saw quite a few about us crossing the ball too much. I think that the idea was that, you know, instead of trying to create a meaningful chance, we just put the ball in the box without any real intention. Do you agree with that?
I think we got forced into that just based off how slow we were moving the ball. Like the tempo was just really, really poor at times. And I think it forces us into that. When you're moving the ball slowly, you can't create gaps in that back line. You get forced into the wingers, they're going to try him across into the box. And then they've got a back five. It's never really going to be that effective like that.
Fair. No, I'm with you on that. I have to say that you got a big boy in Mark Guiu there. So if you can get the ball on his head, fair enough. But also Sunderland had a lot of players back. So it's hard to... It's so hard to find the right one. But I thought Neto was poor, mate. I would have loved to have seen Esteval starting the game. I understand why he didn't start, though. Bear in mind, we want to try and keep players available. Do you think that we rotate heavily against Wolves? Because my stance is simple, Lewis. I'm on the patient scale. I'm on the patient side of things. I said to myself, I said to everyone, it's not going to happen again without good reason for me to lose patience with the manager. I mean, if we're going with the project, another conversation that stems more to the ownership, but I'll include the project in this as well. But if we can't do well in the Carabao Cup, if we get knocked out early, if we don't do well in the FA Cup, those are the two trophies we could win, unless you're putting the Champions League in that as well. Then
I think we can go through all the cups right now.
Hey, well, if we can do that, then I'm all for it, because that is my argument, is that I just want to see Chelsea continue to progress. And as it stands, Lewis, I would say that we are progressing. If you look at it game by game, it's hard to look at it that way. But if you go a little bit more macro, I think there's definitely an argument for it. But if we're not competing for trophies, that argument is over entirely. So I think a lot of my faith rests on Wednesday, how we can play against Wolves, who are absolutely rubbish at the moment. I mean, they just lost 3-2 to Burnley. So, I mean,
and Spurs aren't looking great either. So I really think we can win every game we can up until the international break. And it's just jarring that we haven't done it in this. But that's why I'm also like remaining calm, because this is still one loss in our last 5 games. I'm not going to act like everything's falling apart off this. What it is a stupid, stupid result and a pathetic performance. And right now, I think it's just that.
Yeah, we've got Wolves twice, Tottenham, Carabao, and then we got the break. Then we got Burnley. Barcelona is probably the next challenging one with Arsenal. And then December's looking pretty tasty as well. I mean, there's some good fixtures in there. Thing is, though, Lewis, like, they're all hard. It's just a case of, are we good enough? Because if our quality shines through, we beat the majority of these teams, or at least we're tough to beat. If there's one thing I will say about the Sunderland game, which I know people don't want to hear, Lewis, is that I don't think we're an easy team to beat. I don't think we're easy to beat. That being said, are we going to win games? It's not about not losing. It's we want to win. And yeah, our quality needs to shine through more.
It does. We got to win games that should be winnable. And for the most part, we will. I think we will, but this is just a step back. It's a real step back.
I didn't understand Tyreek George coming on, mate. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it at all. You know, the first touch he had, the ball came in the box. He went to head it, and let's just imagine, I don't know, this plug socket is the ball. He literally went to head it, and it was like that right on the side. I was like, for fuck's sake. A clean collection, and we could have had a good shot.
It's the only one that can play in the middle. I get the idea of bringing George on. Like, I saw a stat, he's got the 4th highest goal involvements for Chelsea this year. So I get the method behind it, but he's a winger. He ain't a striker.
Thing is, he's not even a good winger, Lewis. If we're being honest, he's not a good winger. He's not.
No, but like he's more comfortable there.
I mean, the whole reason that we bring him on,
4 great deliveries into the box.
Yeah,
and for us to play him in the middle after that.
He's a one-trick pony, mate. He can shoot, and that's it. He can shoot. He's got a good shot. He's got a very powerful shot, and on his days, he can hit them from all over. He did against Lincoln. I was shocked how good that goal was. I was like, fair play, because you were absolutely shy. I asked for you to come off at half time, and then you can pull out moments like that. But when you want a moment of inspiration, that's not the player I'm looking at, mate. And when you've got clear-cut chances as well, again, that's not the player that I'm looking at. I look at George as a player who can basically score something out of nothing. The majority of the goals that I can remember, let's just say Fulham and Lincoln, those are the 2 that come to mind. I think he scored a goal against Ajax, fair play. But yeah, that's an area that if we're looking at strikers, right? Remember when Jackson was still here, people were complaining, "Oh, we've got too many strikers. They're not going to be happy. They're not going to have game time." Well, now you can see that one of those strikers is actually a 10. The other one's injured. And if we would have had Nicholas Jackson here, let's just think about football as opposed to politics or any of that stuff. He's a player that could have helped us a lot. And I think that we've missed out on that because we've frozen him out. And that's an area where I think the sporting directors certainly have a part to play, because that is not on the ownership, that specific decision. The ownership deserve a lot of criticism for the way this project is set out and the short-term neglect that we have. And we've seen it every year. There's always been something. It could have been January when we made ourselves worse, or when we missed out on Osman or Manyan, or where we shipped off Petrovic. The list is endless. But that specific decision is on the sporting directors, because they could have said, this is a priority, this is an area we need to be strong. And we could have at least put the arm around Nicholas Jackson and said, there is an opportunity for you to have a part to play here, a serious part to play, instead of saying, you're not in our plans. We don't want you to play ahead of João Pedro. We don't want you to play ahead of Liam Delap. And to cover up for that, we brought in Mark Liu, who I actually like, but Maresca clearly doesn't rate him that much. Although he said that was because of training, so I guess I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. So I guess my message to Mark Gee would be keep training hard, and then hopefully you'll start some games. But I can't help but think that maybe Jackson would have been a positive for us.
Maybe. I just think it would have saved us needing to bring back Hiu. And it would have also helped us next year when we have the squad cap problems with UEFA again and we need to sell players from our UCL squad. Now Jackson's not in our UCL squad. All that money is pointless. Don't go to helping us register anybody. But ultimately, look, I like Jackson. I don't know what difference he would have made for this game. I don't.
I'm not.
Look how bad everyone else was.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not speaking about the game specifically when I speak about Jackson. It's more the bigger picture in terms of, let's just imagine that Mark Guiu gets injured or another player like that. Who do we have? And we essentially misprofiled João Pedro in a sense, using him as a 9 when he's better as a 10. Although,
if that was ever happened, I'd just recall him in January, in all honesty. Even for the sake of registering him into the UCL squad. And then being able to sell him and adding 40, 50 million towards being able to register players next summer.
I don't know about that. I mean, I guess it depends on the finances of the loan deal. If it's just a 50% cut, then you still get 8 million. I'll go fair play. That's pretty good. And then you can still sell him on top of that. But I don't see that happening. I don't see. Oh, he certainly won't agree to it. And Bayern
won't have a choice.
Did Bayern have to agree to that, or no? We can just
maybe, or there might be a penalty fee or something associated with that. We don't know the ins and outs of it, but it will be up to Chelsea. Really.
I mean, I think that's an even more stupid decision, though. If we brought him back, we didn't even get the finances from the loan, then that's just we basically just burnt a bridge and got nothing out of it.
Didn't we just do that with Hiu?
Yeah, we fucking did, didn't we? Thing is, though, Hiu's easy to ship off. It costs us 4 million, 5 million. You're going to make that back. So when you're looking at these bigger players, I mean, if I was to name a number of them off the top, like, let me just ask you this, just yes or no answer, Lewis. Are we going to make a profit? If we sold these players, would we make a profit on them? Pedro Neto.
Might break even.
Garnacho.
No.
Jamie Gittins.
No, I think we overpaid for him anyway.
I mean, those are the main ones, to be fair, because I know we're going to make profit on Mark Guiu and toss in players like that because he was free. But those are the ones that concern me, the ones that I read out, because if they don't perform, you can't sell them and you won't sell them because you don't want to take the hit financially. They're not good enough, so they're going to affect the performances on the pitch, or in a worst case, they affect other players and the dressing room and the mood as a whole. And then you get into this cycle of just not basically what we had with Raheem Sterling, but on seriously long contracts. So that's one of the concerns that I do have if it doesn't work out, and we certainly have taken a gamble, but I mean, it can all change very quickly, mate. Like I saw the numbers of Maresca's losses and the games we've lost and the games we've won. Most of the games we've lost in recent times, and by recent times, I think it's like the past 6 months. It's with a man down. It's with a red card. How many games, Lewis, have we lost when we've had 11 players on the pitch? Because I feel like you will know this.
This would have been the second one since mid-March.
Okay, so like when everybody's panicking and they're saying how rubbish we are and we can't do this, we can't do that, does that not give you a sense of confidence that actually we're respectable in the sense that we don't lose every week? We're not losing we're not losing all these games. We're not losing hardly any games with 11 players. And I think that Maresca deserves, more. He's got more credit in the bank than people give him credit for, mate. He's got more credit in the bank. He has turned fans that, quite frankly, hated him last season, like myself, into a fan that can actually appreciate what I've seen. And I understand.
No, but you're one of the few that were able to do that.
What's that?
You're one of the few that have been able to do that. A lot of the people who were Maresca out last season are now downplaying the World Cup, saying it was just a preseason trophy. And all he's done is import trophies. Because now they want to feed into their Maresca narratives, which it's more based on the performances more than the results. But how many times I hear during the run-in, I don't care about the performance, I want results. Because it's a result-based business. Arsenal are not performing well on the pitch. They barely score from open play. They got another goal off a set piece. They're not performing, but they're getting results. So they don't care. And nobody cared when we were getting results and not looking good either. We've just lost our first game in our last 5. But anytime we lose, it's all the Maresca outers coming back out, running all of their narratives. Oh, we're 9th and everything. Okay, cool. We are like, 4 or 5 points off 4th in October. In a season that we know we haven't prepared for, and we know the squad's had a ton of minutes and are all fatigued as hell. Caicedo's playing with a knock. João Pedro's playing with a knock. Enzo's playing with a knock. Fofana's barely fit. Palmer's not had 1 or 2 starts this season. And yet again, manager out because we're not getting results. It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
Yeah. No, I just want to go back to what you said about the players having knocks. This is another thing that people have used to then criticize Maresca. They've said, well, what's he doing then? If Enzo Fernandez isn't fit, or João Pedro is a good example, if he's not fit, why are you still playing him? So what's your reaction to that?
Well, who else are we playing? That's all you can really say. Romeo Lavia
Well,
is
I suppose that
slowly being
you'd have to play
reintegrated into the team.
Buonanotte in the 10 and Andre Santos in midfield.
Buonanotte. Well, Andre Santos, I could hear and everything. I could. But even he needs to be eased into this system. You could tell like he's not all there yet. Quality player, but you can tell he needs to get eased into the system a bit more. Lavia's the same thing because of his injury problems. So Caicedo and Enzo are being managed. That's why you see them come off in games more than what we used to. That's also why the tempo can look slower sometimes. Like we've been complaining about that from match day 1 against Palace. But you don't trust the team, and we've got too many minutes under our belt. So what we're going to do, especially when we've got the lead in games, is try to slow things down. Try to keep it at our tempo and keep hold of the ball. Because if you do that, you minimize the amount of movement and the amount of running that these players do, which protects them. That's why at times we will look boring, but that's also why people will be so quick to turn on the manager, because they don't like the style of play. I'm still having arguments in group chats with people who are telling me, what has Maresca shown to make him better than Poch? Still, people still telling me I preferred watching Poch football. And I'm
I will say this, Lewis. I was more entertained under Poch. If you're going to ask me that, I was more entertained.
Because it was roller coaster end to end, and we can't do that with this squad now. We can't, unless you want our injuries to treble. You can't have them running around for 90 minutes constantly with the amount of minutes that they've played. But people don't listen to the context. It's just what's in front of your eyes, and that's it.
So you think that people need to appreciate, number one, that we haven't had a full preseason. Number two, that if we played the brand of football that they want, which is so, well, let's just say fast and requires a lot of running, that would get our players injured. And, one of the benefits of Maresca's style of play is that he minimizes the amount of running that players need to do.
Basically, yeah. And we'd be a lot more prepared for this if we had used the windows properly and brought in the adequate depth that we were told we were going to do if we got top 4. And instead, we got the same sort of window that we would have had if we finished 7th. That's where it all comes down to. It all comes down to recruitment. It all comes down to the mismanagement of the last 4 or 5 windows. We wanted the goalkeeper and the centre-back. We were told, wait for Mamadou Sarr and Mike Penders, because that's going to be the long-term one. But hey, I don't have to wait for Quenda to come in next season, because I'm just going to bin £90 million worth of money on Gittins and Garnacho. How does that make sense? It's a literal double standard. And this is why I'm so pissed with the incompetence of these sporting directors. You're telling me to wait on 2 of the most important areas of the squad that's needed strengthening. Meanwhile, at left wing, you said, fuck the other guy that's cooking at Lisbon right now. I'm going to bring in Garnacho. Great. Great. Fucking Garnacho, man. Such a shit move. Can't fucking believe it, man. All year we knew this move was not going to do anything for us, and I have not seen anything to prove me wrong. Nothing. At least Gittins hadn't played all year because he weren't fitting the new manager's system in a back 5. He's not a wing back. At least he's never played in the Prem. Garnacho had the 5th highest minutes in the Prem last season. One of the most important players for United and stunk out the pitch every week. He's come here, not moved the needle once. Here we are.
Goal, mate. Come on.
Great. Fucking great, man. You're a goal. You are, I'm not going to say a goal-scoring winger because you're not even really that. You're a winger that takes a lot of shots and gets into goal-scoring positions, but you are not clinical. And your all-round game leaves so much to be desired. It's actually insane. Brother controls the ball like Gyökeres. Dribbling's not good. Passing's not good. But whatever. You'll give me maybe 1 moment if I'm lucky in a match.
I think the Garnacho one, I understood why we signed him. I think that it was a fair deal. United wanted more, we wanted less. We met in the middle.
I'd understand if we didn't get Gittins. You get 1. don't need
that's
both.
a fair
And
argument.
then you couldn't even sell Tyreek George on top. So it's an even more useless move.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to Garnacho, he had the most GA of any under 21 player, apart from Yamal, across the past 2 previous seasons. I mean, that's something.
You also had like
They're looking at potential, Lewis. They're looking at potential. What's that?
I hear all of that, but I can look at Gittins and actually think, all right, I can see a bit of the potential. I can see you putting consistent deliveries into box, taking on your man consistently, some decent cameos off the bench. I don't look at Garnacho and think this was the right talent. You could maybe say profile, shot creating winger. Fine. He's not clinical. And he leaves so much more to ask for in all his other areas. It's just a pointless move.
Do you think Gittins is better than Garnacho right now?
Yes. Yes, I do.
I disagree with what I've seen so far.
I'm only going off what I've seen at Chelsea. I'm even ignoring
No,
the stuff
I'm talking about Chelsea as well.
Gittins. That Gittins game against Ajax is better than anything I've seen Garnacho do. Anything.
I think if you're spreading the minutes across all of them in terms of the impact that Garnacho's had, I think he made a good impact when he come on against Bayern. I actually think if you take away the defense, Bayern Munich, no, I was happy with Garnacho when he come on.
He was just better than Neto. That wasn't enough.
I thought Garnacho was positive when he came on. I thought that he was probably. I mean, this is going to sound like a low bar, but if I'm comparing him to Gittins, it's relevant. I thought he was probably the best player in the first half against Lincoln that we had. I thought he was one of the best players in that game. We were very underwhelming. I thought against Brentford, he come in and made a good impact on the ball, but defensively he was poor with the goal we conceded. So, like, I've seen a number of games where I've had moments I thought, okay, that's positive. With Gittins, I agree. Ajax was very good. I struggled to see more than that. And
he was good coming off the bench against Liverpool and Forest too, in my opinion.
Liverpool, fair enough. Forest, I'm trying to think about what he did against Forest.
It was just a couple take-ons, if anything. Like, I don't think he was amazing when he came on, but I thought he was good, and he was better than what I saw from Garnacho in the first half.
Garnacho was shite, mate. I'm with you on that one. He was crap.
And even down the Lincoln game, I'm surprised you thought Garnacho played well because he did nothing to.
I'm just saying he was one of our better players. Let's speak very clearly. He was like, look, I'm doing
the entire Lincoln game is a low bar. That whole Lincoln game, isn't it?
It's who was better out of those two. So that's my argument for that. But let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of those. Like, again, I'm not sitting here saying, and I've never said that Garnacho is going to be this great player for Chelsea, but I do think it was a player that I would have happily, thrown 20, 30 million at in January a year ago, whatever it was. And everyone was saying, fuck that, I don't want to go anywhere near it. My argument was then 30 million or less, I'm very happy. 40 million, I have to admit, I didn't want us to pay that much. I didn't. But I understood why the deal happened. Everyone met in the middle. So that's my take on it. But Lewis, let's do a little Wolves preview, shall we? Last 10 minutes. What's your opinion going into that game? How much do we rotate? Different goalkeeper?
You'll have to be. You always bring out the cup goalkeeper. Rotate as much as possible, really. You're going to Mark Hughes start again, though. I'd throw him in for another at least 45-minute cameo.
Yeah,
I don't want to see Esteval start because, look, as much as I would enjoy watching him just take the piss over there, save it for Tottenham because I'd rather him starting. Don't give me Neto and Garnacho again on the weekend. I can't. I just can't. Just do Gittins and Garnacho or something, just so I don't have to see him on the weekend. And play Buonanotte, Lavia, Andre Santos. I'd be willing to do Tosin and Chalobah just so I don't see it on the weekend.
Yeah, but then you risk a seriously bad Wednesday night, mate. You risk it. Are you going up there?
No.
You're not coming to Wolves, mate. What's going on?
I've got 3 games planned in November. That's going to be what I come out for.
you doing Carabao?
Maybe no. Tottenham, Barca, and Arsenal. I'm going those three.
Fair.
Wolves I gotta do the swerve for. But I assume Fofana would start with one of Tosin and Chalobah. And then
Fofana and
Gusto
Tosin
back
then
from
maybe.
suspension. And Jarrell Hatto. I think that'll be your team. And look, regardless, we should beat them. Their wins have only come in the EFL Cup, albeit against Prem opposition in both rounds, but it's still a shit Wolves team. Now, I don't think we're going to play out of our skins. You might even see a Lincoln sort of thing where we don't look good, but we win and we just keep it stepping.
I'm happy with that.
Just genuinely win and get me through to the next round because we need to leave the season with a trophy. I'm not accepting a trophy this season. I ain't accepting a top 4 battle either. This should have been the season we leveled up. We're hanging on to faint hopes of a title race. Faint.
You still have hope?
The idea of beating Arsenal.
You have hope?
Win all your games and beat Arsenal. That's the only way for it to even start flickering again. Before then, there's no point talking about it.
I don't think that we're going to win the league. I mean, I've always said that I think we can be in the race.
For me, it's not even a win the league thing. I want us to be there or thereabouts.
Okay.
Because with the window that we've had, it would be unrealistic to demand that we win the league. But I want us to be in a title race, or at least in the bare minimum. I need a boring 3rd place finish. I'm not good enough for the title race, but I'm too good for top 4 race.
Fair.
If we're in a top 4 race in the run-in, these directors need to fuck off. Because we should have moved forward from this. That is the bare minimum. I do not want us in a top 4 race this season.
If we finish top 4, win a trophy of any kind, to be fair, FA Cup or Carabao, and get through the group stage in the Champions League, for me, that is progression because you are playing at a higher level of football, being in the Champions League. You're managing a squad, and you've won a harder trophy in whatever domestic one it is, as opposed to the Conference League. I'm absolutely with any fan who believes we should be challenging for the league next season. And that should be the standard, that should be the level, that should be where everyone's judged. But this season, I think I'm in total agreement with you, Lewis. I mean, we've got to win a trophy, and 3rd is exactly where I would expect us to be in terms of just an upward trend. So if we did that, I wouldn't have any complaints.
If it's there are still in a trophy thing, I'll be like, cool, we won a trophy. But I'm not gonna act like the season's been a success. I'll be like, cool, this is just what you'd want the bare minimum from Chelsea to be. Talk about the Roman era and everything. That's the bare minimum of the Roman era. You get top 4, you get a trophy, you keep it stepping. It's only like a banging success if it's a Champions League or if you've done a domestic double. I'll hear a domestic double and top.
Oh, that's awesome.
5.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, 2 trophies, calm, whatever. But you top 4 and one of them, I'll be like, all right, cool, we won a trophy. I won't knock the trophy, but top 4 race again. Nah, we should have moved past this. Because then they'll start bigging up top 4 like it's another achievement, and I'm not with it. That was an achievement last season because we weren't there before. Now, move past that. Or it's an Arsenal thing. Where they're going for the title, we're celebrating top 4. The roles are reversed. Not doing it. I'm not doing it.
As long as we finish the Champions League, and again, as I said, win a trophy and have a decent spell in the Champions League, like for me, it's much for muchness, but I want us to finish on more points. I want us to have a higher league table finish as well. Because I think in a weird way, I'm trying to remember the final day when we beat Forest. Villa dropped points and somebody else lost as well, didn't they? Because we were going to finish 5th and then we ended up finishing 4th. Is that correct?
When? What season?
Last season.
Yeah. We finished 4th.
No, but if Villa would have beaten United, would we have gone 1 place down?
Yeah, maybe. I'd assume so.
So that's why, like, if you're going to go based on league table finishes, even if we finish 4th, I'd still look at that in a positive way. Just because
that could only be viewed positive, in my opinion, if there's no top 4 race and the top 4 have just cleared the ones beneath them. Like the minimum is I don't want us to be questioning whether we're in top 4 by May. That should be done. And if it's not, what's changed from last season? What's changed?
Champions League, that's it, isn't it? That's it. So
that would just be it.
Yeah.
And that's not progression. That's not progression, that's stagnation.
Well, it's progression in the sense of we've held our own while having Champions League football for the first time. That's the only thing that you can hold on to. Again, this is very minimal, but I want to try and give as much hope to this as I can. I know that the owners are the problem. I appreciate that. My stance hasn't changed there. We just don't talk about it as much because it gets a bit boring. How many times do we need to say the same thing? So I want it to work out. I mean, maybe on a positive note, Lewis, you could tell us what day it is as world champions. What day is it?
Day 105.
105.
Day 105. You already know what it is. Up the Chelsea. Still got the belt, bro. Still got the fucking belt. What I love, though, is it's notorious. Every time we lose a game, everyone on YouTube's talking about it. Is he still wearing the belt? Put the belt down. Yeah, hold that, bro.
How much was the belt? 500 quid.
Oh, 500, but I got 100 knocked off because of how long it took to send it to me. So I'll take the 400. I'll run with it. I always said I was going to buy this if they ever drop this collab. So here we are. The little kid inside of me's gassed with it. And it came when we were world champions, which is like poetic.
That is, man.
Yeah. It's a shame, like, we're so fucking inconsistent right now, innit? At the very least, like, Chelsea fans can like try and talk down on it after a defeat all they want. I don't agree with that because, like, look, when you're a champion of something, you should be willing to flex that. You demand more of your club. I hear it, but the moment you start downplaying what your own team's achieved, are you really Chelsea? Really? I don't think so. You can say that we didn't perform like world champions. I hear it. Shouldn't be telling our own to stop talking about it. This is an achievement for 4 years. Why should we? Why? Like, God forbid Arsenal win the league. The one thing I'll say is, thank God it weren't the last 2 years where we had nothing to clap back with. Like, Arsenal should realistically be looking at 3 trophies in their last 4 years. They should have won it in 22-23. They should have won it in 23-24. And we'd have fuck all to say. Now, God forbid they win it, but if they do, I'm just going to say world champions. Fuck you, pay my rent. And they'll hate it. But the one thing to do to counteract shamelessness is to be even more shameless. So, that'll be my copium.
Big up to you, Lewis. And thanks for coming on, mate.
Come on. You know what it is every time.
Always a pleasure.